I'm Italian. I come from Rome. I started studying composition in Italy because I studied in Milan for not many years, like 3 years, and then I moved to Paris for 5 years to study in the conservatoire, and I was doing also IRCAM at the same time, and now I live in Berlin. I just moved to Berlin. So.
And you are artists in residence there?
Yes.
What is it exactly you're doing?
So it's the DAAD, it's called. It's actually a fantastic opportunity for all the artists, because it's not just about music, it's like visual artists, writers, etc. So every year they choose 15 artists all over the world. They don't have to live in Germany, actually. This is one of the rules. And they put them together and they give them a salary and a fantastic apartment. So, and I really have the privilege to work on my music and to be funded for 1 year. So it's really fantastic.
Also in collaboration with the other art areas, or just on your own work?
I can actually, you can do whatever you want. They really, you can absolutely choose. For me, actually, it's more about just music. But at the same time, if you want to do collaborations with other artists, you're free to do it. Actually, I mean, they are very happy about it. And I was talking with some writer. There are many writers this year, like 6 writers. So we were talking about it, and I don't know. Maybe there might be a future collaboration. We will see.
In your biography, it says you had to be talked into composition. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us why?
I mean, actually, I was studying. I was a musician. I studied flute, and I wanted to be a flutist for my whole life. And then my harmony teacher, he said, if you really want to be a good musician, you have to study composition, because you have to understand what you're playing. And so that's why I was like, okay, I want to be a good musician. So I will start studying composition. And then after not so much time, actually, like after 1 year and a half, it's like I really found that composition was the art that suits me the most, you know. So I just decided that was my direction.
Yesterday, the Moscow Contemporary Music Ensemble played your piece. And you were part of a mostly Russian program. Did you feel at home?
But actually, I met them already, because I went to. They have a summer academy in Moscow and Perm, and so I did it 2 years ago. So I met them already, and it was very important for me. Not just because it was like a trip abroad. In Moscow, there is like a fantastic city, but above all because Russian music is so different, so radical, I would say, that I think that I learned a lot. Also, just listening to their music, and they are pretty different from me, but I think that they did a great job. So I was very happy to be performed by them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did it change the piece, the fact that they play it, or would it sound the same or almost the same if another ensemble would play it?
This is a good question. I mean, I really like to work with musicians, and I mean, of course, I like when a piece is played and played, performed and performed several times, but I really like to write the piece for them. So it's like I spend a lot of time with musicians, and it's like really like I want to be almost a tailor, and my music it's like really, yeah, the music should fit you, you know. So when I wrote the piece, actually, it was for another ensemble, an American ensemble. And it's always like, and they did a fantastic job, and it's always like weird, I would not say weird and great at the same time, listening to your piece performed by another ensemble or another musician, because, you know, you have a recording or you have a performance in your ear, and then they absolutely interpret your piece in another different way. Sometimes it's you don't agree with the interpretation, but it's their own interpretation, so you can't really touch it. And sometimes in Revenge you just discover things that you didn't see or you didn't listen to the first time. So it's absolutely surprising and fascinating. So it's.
You had a motto for the piece. It's a quote from Deleuze.
Yes.
Repetition changes nothing in the object repeated, but does change something in the mind which contemplates it.
Yes. Oh. No. Actually, I mean, it's been a few years that I'm trying to. Not really study. I'm really not a philosopher. I'm really not good talking, but I'm really into memory, repetition, etc. I really don't think that it's possible to have A is not the same as A. Actually, I mean, above all in art, and so it's been a few years that I'm trying really to work on repetition. And actually, I mean, the piece that you heard yesterday, d'après. Is an example of that. There are like rhythmical patterns that are absolutely the same. I almost don't change anything, but I'm absolutely sure that nobody really recognized them when they appeared again. So, and I'm absolutely sure that I didn't understand the 90% of that book, even though I read it like twice. Yeah, I mean, what changes, the repetition, what changes in your state when you heard the same thing over and over again. This is really something that I like. I mean, for example, I really like to read the same book several times and to watch the same movie several times. And every time you discover something new, I mean, it doesn't change anything, but you're discovering something new. That's why I quoted it.
Mm-hmm. Talking about the way you write your music. I saw also in the movie that you have very meticulous instructions for everyone. How come?
How come? Well, let's say that even though we can't really invent new sounds, it's almost impossible. At the same time, I'm really looking for a sound that is really personal. And so in order to get this, you really have to, first you have to know exactly what you want, and also you have to describe exactly what you want, because otherwise the musicians don't understand. And in general also, I mean, and it's normal now, it's like something that everyone does, that you have to create your own way to write scores. I mean, there are like symbols that never appeared, etc., or just I would like to put this symbol. So it means that every time the musician has to discover a new kind of writing, and in order to really understand, because sometimes you can work with musicians, sometimes you can't. You can't really. So they have to understand, and in order to understand, you have to explain accurately everything you want. And in general, I do also audio files and examples and everything. And that's why.
And you're also walking in the streets always with your ears open and listening to the sounds of cities, I understood.
Definitely. This is fascinating. And yeah, definitely. I love every sound and every noise, actually. And to see, I mean, I'm attracted to almost everything. So in general, yes, I do that. And so, for example, in this piece, d'après, but also in other pieces of mine, there are the bicycle bells that I use. And it was just because I went to buy a bicycle last year. And I had to choose my bell. And I fell in love with all the bells. And then finally, I got out without a bicycle, but with like 15 bicycle bells. And I was absolutely happy about it. And I think that this is pretty important. So if you can make sound, you can make sound with everything. So let's do it. Let's try at least.
So what's your main goal for your music career in the near future?
Actually, the only thing I want is keep doing what I'm doing, like researching. Because for me, music is really like a therapy, and I'm trying to discover myself and of course, in order to do this, I need to be performed. I need that someone commissions me new works, and I have to meet musicians, and I have to travel to discover also other people's music, etc. So the only thing I hope is that I can do this for my whole life. That's it.
Good luck in the competition.
Thank you.